Hey everyone, I'm Ben.
I'm Sam.
And this is Counterfeit Christianity. We're still in the same spot up at Double Island. We're going to try and film a few videos. Maybe we'll move somewhere else after. Maybe we won't. But it's still nice.
It's nice and shady here.
Yes. When we were trying to walk up another hill to get some shots, and we got halfway and said, screw that.
That hill looks so cool though. It looks like a desert oasis.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a picture of it on the way out.
Yeah, but it's really hard, it's steep, and the sand. So yeah.
Lactic acid. Can confirm.
Right now, we're going to talk about men and what is the problem with men, or what is our biggest problem as men.
Men.
Yeah. And we've talked a little bit about this in some of the previous videos. If you haven't watched them, you should be. Go back and watch them all, you idiots. I don't know if you saw, if you hear from our shorts, it says, don't be an NPC, go watch our full videos. And I truly, wholeheartedly believe that. If you don't watch our full videos, you're an NPC.
Yeah, right.
We walked up the top of a mountain, you could at least go and watch one of our videos.
Yeah, 100%.
And we'll probably get Patreon later, and so we can guilt them into that.
You can fund our societal terrorism.
Do you have any ideas that you want to start off with?
Well, men are head of the family, right?
Yeah.
In God's eyes, the way God designed it, the man's the head of the family, and the family unit is what makes up the earth.
Yep.
You know?
And without the family unit, the world falls apart, like what's happening now.
Yeah, well, I mean, the family unit's fallen apart in Australia a long time ago,
Yep.
largely due to things like, feminism, women going to the workforce, stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of laws that discriminate against men, like the family court in Australia is notoriously bad. That's why Australian fathers go and kill themselves all the time, is because, someone comes along and decides that they're going to take their kids away and take their house away, and they got nothing.
I don't know the exact number, but it's like 90% of divorces are initiated by the woman, and it's very interesting.
Well, when the system is designed to be financially advantageous to one gender over the other, then that gender is going to take advantage of that. It's as simple as that. If you give one group of humans power over another, they're always going to abuse it. People need true equality. Like, we talk about equality these days, but it's not. I'd say women had equality quite a long time ago. Yeah. But now it's more about dominance. How can we push men back?
Yes, exactly.
How can we make sure men have no agency? How can we make sure that men are pushed down so that the government can do whatever they want? Because ultimately the man is the defender of the household, and if you're doing things that threaten his family, he's going to band together with a bunch of other men and probably come to Parliament House and do who knows what, if we went back 100 years. But these days we're all corralled into this system. Yeah,
this groupthink.
Groupthink, and we have less capacity to push back. And the destruction of the man as the head of the family is a cornerstone to that, because if you can remove him, and that most families in Australia now are single mum and a few kids.
And if there's a man in the house, he's the feminine one. He's the one who's underneath his wife's thumb.
Yeah, usually if you want to stay married in Australia, you usually have to become a bitch.
Men, when they become a family man, they think that means becoming even more passive.
It's not supposed to be that way. I think that we've been taught that. It's like, you've been purchased by a woman now. You have to give her all the money. Yeah. You have to go and work hard. You still have to do everything at home as well. And if you're a good boy, maybe she'll sleep with you. Yeah. Like that. That's not how the family unit's supposed to go.
I was thinking about this some years ago, and I think, like, we talked about Adam and Eve just before when we started talking about this idea, but I think that this comes down to, are you a son of God or are you a son of Adam? A son of Adam is a worldly man. And a worldly man who is weak and passive, who stands by and lets things happen. And that is the problem with the world. Every man is passive now. And if you're not passive, you're angry, over the top angry, and then you're throwing fits and chucking tantrums. That's what I used to be. God has just changed me, and I've become more easygoing. But I'm also not passive. It's not like I've become a family man, so I'm passive and let people walk all over me.
Well, a lot of the time these days, people are either passive or aggressive.
Yes.
And I guess the term to be in between would be assertive.
Yeah. Well, the Bible says the word meek.
Meek is
the correct word,
same thing,
except we understand meek incorrectly in the world.
People think meek means weak. Yeah. But meek, if you translate it properly, is more like being assertive. You're not being overly aggressive, but you're looking after your interests, and you're trying to respect others.
I think Jordan Peterson actually, he talks about this as well, but the idea of meekness is, it's like a tempered sword. You can bend it, it doesn't snap. It doesn't bend and stay bent, it's flexible. Another way in the Bible it's described is, I have a sword, I know how to use it, but I choose not to, unless it comes time to, right? That's meek. And Jesus was meek. He's not a bitch.
He chased people out of the temple with a whip. He must have been a physical guy. Otherwise, I mean, if Jesus was this skinny dude who was really weak and passive, do you think he's going to chase people out with a whip or just walk up, will you please leave? No. He got a thong together and he's like, get out. But he must have been a formidable guy.
Yep.
You know, and a lot of the time these days, formidable people get painted in a different fashion to be a troublemaker.
Yeah, or they're just angry, or they're whatever they are. They don't pay attention to them. They're
whatever
control.
label you can throw on them to try and make them unimportant.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Like that, I feel like that is why we, on Counterfeit Christianity here, we're talking about the church as such a problem, because the church is one of the biggest groups that does this to men.
Has disenfranchised men.
Yeah.
The church and the state used to be really close together.
Yeah.
You know?
And now they say they're not, but they are. They're still like this. Yeah. But they're same ideas, same mentality.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have a pope or a bishop or a pastor or someone who becomes prime minister.
No.
But, you know, there's still a pernicious influence there, and they still get special treatment, you know, in the form of tax breaks and et cetera, which I don't think churches should get any tax breaks. They're all run as businesses. They're not really
100%.
Supporting the community so much as either supporting the pastors or only supporting the insular group to which they belong. So why should the rest of the country be paying for that? A long time ago, a man used to be able to tell the woman and the kids to just get out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's okay either.
Of course not.
You know, that's why I guess we started talking about equality at the start.
Yep.
You know, real equality means equity. You know, it means that people are treated the same. Not one group is treated, you know.
Yeah, and there's
well
not one person who's more powerful than the other.
It's like the pendulum was this way, where men had too much power. Now the pendulum is over here, where women have too much power. And you can see the negative effects in society for both.
Yep.
You know, we really need something down the middle, and we need people to recognise that men and women are different, and they have, in general, different strengths and different weaknesses.
Yeah.
Like, you are going to get some baller chick who can, you know, scale a wall and shoot people and whatever, and she can go on the front lines. But most women aren't going to do that. Most women aren't going to want to be boilermakers.
Deep sea underwater welders.
But there's always the exception. And it's the same with men.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things that are more common to women, and some men want to be that. And let them be that. Power to them. I think if you leave people alone, they naturally will go the way God wants them to be. I think we have a very sexually charged society, and I think the church has had a big hand in that, because when you create pressure, you create a vacuum somewhere else. Like, look at pedophile priests, for example, right? They were told, oh, you have to be celibate. You're not allowed to have a sexual relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and so it seeps out. The pressure creates a vacuum.
So it doesn't work.
Anyone who hurts a child, I hope you die.
Exactly.
Not going to lie. But, you know, these people have this pressure on them from religion, trying to say that they need to be celibate. Then they have human urges that they need to fulfill, and it comes out another way, and then people are hurt. Children are hurt, you know, and the church is hurt, and God's credibility is hurt, because people look at the church and go, oh, they're full of pedophiles.
Yep.
You know, and that's one example. Another example would be, you know, I think the lack of fathers has really hurt young women in this country, because they just go out and they find their male love from 50 different guys who want to sleep with them. You know, like, and I think that phenomenon was not around when the family unit was stronger, because those girls had more self-respect. They had a man in their life, their dad, who loved them. And these days, their dad is who knows where, because he's trying to escape the system. And, you know, they find the love elsewhere. And that creates all these, you know, children to different dads, and, you know, that creates its own problem, because those children grow up without the dad as well, and it creates this cycle of suffering. Because people are meant to be in a nuclear family. People who are from a nuclear family have less mental health issues, they're more successful in life, they earn more money, they're happier. I think it's just humans' natural state of being. And if you leave people alone and stop trying to enforce rules on them, stop trying to have religious dictates forced down their throat, I think they naturally will, you know, go towards that path. But if you just leave people alone and not tell them what to do, I think what you'll find is most people are pretty monogamous. They'll get one partner and stay with them.
Yeah, the 10 Commandments is don't commit adultery. 10 Commandments are the 10 words. It's like 10 ideas to have a good life.
Theft, it's like murder, idolatry.
Don't do any of that stuff and you'll be right. It's not like if you do this, you're burning in hell. That's one of the church's lies.
Well, that's all about control then. So I'm going to make you afraid. And that's what usually drives people to do it. And then that gives the church even more power, because they've scared someone into doing something bad, and then they get to condemn it.
God is an anarchist. He wants us to be with just him. He doesn't want anyone else above us.
Anarchy being a lack of rules, not everything being on fire.
Right. No, God is like without government.
Might have groups of people actually acting in their own interest. You know,
that would certainly happen. We're going to probably touch on a lot of these topics again as our thoughts change or we figure out new things. But it's just we're just getting our thoughts out there of what's going on.
Men get criticised because they don't want to grow up these days. They're too busy playing games or whatever. But when you look at the world that's waiting for them, why would they want to participate in it? It's tilted against them.
You got a bunch of these whores running around everywhere who are just going to use them for what they can get out of them.
Well, I think women in Australia and a lot of the Western countries in particular have been taught growing up that they're supposed to use their bodies and use sex to gain material things. Oh, you go marry that guy because he's rich, and they just divorce him a few years later.
Yep.
Like, it's become a culture.
Yep.
And the guys have pushed back on that by going, I don't want to play this game at all.
You said that a lot of these really bad girls are from the churches as well, so it's like it's no different in there.
No. So at church, you just have to pretend to be pious.
Yeah.
Generally, church people I find are worse than most.
Exactly.
The more pretty and pious someone looks, the probably worse they are behind.
Yeah. They're just massive scammers. So that's pretty much where we are. If you have any comments or you want to say something, and maybe we can talk about that as well. But
yeah, right.
All right. See ya.